What is up, Netrunners? Welcome to another episode of PeachHack. My name is Ben, and we are back at the Ravens Nest Store Championships in Marietta, Georgia on January 4th, 2015. It is round 5. The end has come. This is the last round of this 5-round of Swiss tournament. There is no cut in this tournament, 29 players. So this is going to determine who takes the first place prize, the store championship. And this is the top table that we're seeing here for this round. Both these players doing very well. On the left, we have Ahmed, who currently has a record of 6-2, playing as a near-Earth hub, who can draw a card the first time they create a new server each turn. And he is going to be playing against Pacer on the right, who is running as Noise, who can force the Corp to trash the top card of R&D whenever they install a virus. Now, we have seen Pacer before over in round 1. He did pretty well in there, and you can watch those games. They are on this YouTube. And he has a record of 7-1 at this point, so I believe he is in the lead in terms of record. But Ahmed is definitely going to want to take him down and see if he can take over this top spot. But Ahmed probably will need to sweep the series if he's going to be able to get first. So we'll see what happens. He is playing a rather popular identity, NEH, well known for their fast advance abilities. So I'm sure we're probably going to be seeing some of that action. For now, he ices up R&D, he plays a hedge fund, draws a card. And Pacer, first click, runs that R&D ice. It is an Eli, a classic standby ice, arguably one of the best ice in the game. Very taxing at 3 to res and 4 strength. It's hard to get through unless you have a lady. That is, if you have the icebreaker called Lady. Just to clarify. And I'm guessing he's probably going to bounce from this. I think he was more interested in what the ice was. I don't know if he wants to spend his entire turn clicking through to see whatever that was on top. To see whatever it is. Instead, what has he got there? Parasite, maybe? Something else. Oh, we got a Wild Side coming out. And getting that card draw going. Always good in Noise. You want to see all those viruses, be able to play them. And clicks back up for money. And back to Ahmed. Ices up HQ. And Pacer did not take advantage of that open HQ. Alas, it looks like there are some agendas in hand. I think he might have just drew a Beal. I wasn't sure if that was his first draw or mandatory draw. But there are agendas in there. And he protects R&D some more. Cyber Feeder now for Pacer. Going to be installing those viruses cheap. And there is that Parasite on the Eli. A little bit of a slow burn there. 4 strength. Though those 4 turns can go by fast. And of course, if you get Data Suckers out there, you can kill it even sooner. Ahmed sporting the Tori Hanzo playmat from top 8 at the North American Nationals. He did indeed get 3rd place at Gen Con 2014. The Android Netrunner National Championships for North America. So he is definitely one of the better players in our area for sure. Pad Campaign, Fast Track, and a swagtastic Alt Art Eli in the trash for Ahmed. After Pacer checked that. After installing Data Sucker, gets a Data Sucker token. There it is. Creating new server, gets free draw. And installs a mystery card into that server. Feeling pretty confident, I suppose, against this Noise. I know, just based on seeing Pacer's deck in round 1, I don't think he runs many Icebreakers. I remember seeing Darwin. Well, he's going to try for it. And it is a Wall of Static. So he will bounce from that. Unless he has something in hand that can get through it quick. Another Data Sucker. I think he's just going to let that server be. For all we know, it could just be a Sansan. Or it could be an agenda. Who knows? If it is an agenda, it might be tough for Ahmed to want to score that out now, because he's at 6 credits. And Hades Shard coming out from Pacer. He ran Archives, was able to install it for free. And Shipment from Sansan on that card, and Advance, okay. Shipment gets around the credit problem. He's at 5 credits now, and there's a Beal, 2 points for Ahmed on the board. It's not an Astro script, but it's still 2 points. We have a medium now coming out for Pacer, and he's going to be wanting to put pressure on that R&D. He does have the Data Sucker support now to kill that Eli. He face checks an Errand Boy, a new ice from the latest legal set in this tournament, the Source, all the way through the Lunar Cycle. And he has nothing to deal with it here. So it looks like Ahmed is going to take $3 from it, essentially making that a 1-to-res ice. Parasite kills the Eli, and the Parasite goes in Ahmed's trash. Sees in NAPD on top of R&D, only has 1 credit. Sad days. Hopefully that Parasite goes out into Pacer's heap. I'm sure they catch it eventually. But I was interrupted because I was talking about that Hades Shard. A great new piece of resource in this cycle. Puts a lot of pressure on Corps, especially if they have Jackson Howard out, because runners can activate it on their turn to access Archives immediately before Jackson can retrieve any agendas back. It's kind of just sitting there on the board being... Oh, there goes the Parasite. It's just sitting on the board sort of staring down the Corp, saying, I can access Archives whenever, and I'm going to be throwing a ton of cards in there with viruses. Kind of makes them a bit nervous. How long will it take before the Hades Shard gets popped? How long would you dare leave your Jackson Howard out? And speaking of the devil, we got Mr. Howard himself right now. Drawing up. And probably going to be dumping agendas, maybe? Probably. Assuming he's even drawing agendas. Tough decision in his hand right now. In the meantime, that Errand Boy, a great new ice, Dyson taxing with 3 subroutines, and Pacer has no way to deal with it right now, at least in terms of breakers. But it does have only 1 strength. Pretty vulnerable to Parasite. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really taxing ice out there that is pretty low strength. So sure, you can get through it, but it's going to be expensive. But of course, they're vulnerable to the omnipresent Parasite. Such a strong tool for ice destruction. A few cards go into the trash for Ahmed, and he does decide to pop the Jackson at the end of his turn before Pacer has a chance to use that Hades Shard. Must have been some agendas in there. But yeah, there you go. There's Hades Shard just sitting there. Didn't even do anything. Just sat there on the table and forced Ahmed to get rid of Jackson early. What a nice card. Five credits on the board for Ahmed. A little bit credit light. Fast advanced decks often tend to run pretty inexpensive ice with just end the run subroutines that they can res and do a little bit of taxing or force out particular breakers so that they can quickly get the way into the mid game, scoring agendas. You want to get those Astro scripts out there. Parasite on the Errand Boy, and down he goes with the Data Sucker token. Parasite correctly goes another edge this time, accessing 2 cards. Sees nothing. Parasite going into the heap. Sorry, not Archives. Oh, terminology. Double checking that top card. It looked like a Biotic Labor, I think. And if you want to fast advance an agenda out of hand with Biotic Labor, you have to have 7 credits. 4 to play the Biotic, and 3 to advance. So Ahmed not quite there. Cash coming out for Pacer, pretty... Well, I mean, that only really netted him 2 credits. He didn't have a Grimoire out, and he'd already used his Cyber Feeder, so just a measly couple credits. This seems like a very low econ game, which is a little bit funny compared to the previous game we had in this tournament, where one player may or may not have had in excess of 50 credits, which was a fun game. Pro tip, trash sundews. Ahmed throwing down another asset or an agenda or upgrade behind that wall of static. And Pacer will run R&D, and we have another wall of static. We've got that static everywhere. Aesop coming out now. Going to be able to start up getting some more econ, so that maybe we won't face check anymore NAPDs and just crediting up. Do we have another agenda for... Yes, we do. Shipment from Sansan, 1 credit. And there's the AstroScript pilot program. That is what you want to see as NBN. Pacer sells that cash for $3. Makes money on the way in, makes money on the way out. And is a virus, free mill. Pretty good in noise, only 1 influence each. But we got that Astro scored from Ahmed. So now the pressure is on. Autoscriptor, ooh, very interesting include. Makes a lot of sense though if you're going to be installing lots of programs as noise. You want to get those free clicks. And Deja Vu, a couple of parasites. I wonder where those are gonna go. We've got 1 click left, he says. Installs that parasite, and with Autoscriptor, he gets another click. So he's gonna make a run, and he's gonna be able to kill that wall of static straight up. Very nice move. Good old Autoscriptor. And it's a pretty new card, and I'm gonna just double checking to make sure that that is the correct way. It is played in medium, going up to 3 counters. Gonna see if 3 cards now. Ooh, there's a Beetle at the bottom. 2 points for Pacer. That medium is getting a little out of control. And Ahmed is just having the hardest time in the world keeping ice on R&D. I mean, that's what? He killed the Eli and the Errand Boy and the Wall of Static. Another Jackson Howard. And I'm sure at this point, Ahmed has just got to be trying to find anything he can throw over R&D, but he only has 2 credits. I mean, what could it be? A quandary could go there. A wraparound, I suppose. A wraparound would be great here. That is going to be extremely difficult to kill with a parasite. That'll take a long time. He's got, what, 4 data sucker tokens? So I guess he could run archives a few times to build up data sucker tokens and then run a wraparound. But still, that's a lot of energy to do that. And Ahmed pops Jackson right away yet again. Hades Shard doing work. And by doing work, I mean just sitting there, staring menacingly at the corp. An excellent include into any noise deck. It's going to be accessing archives a lot. 2 credits to Ahmed's name. Not a position you want to be in. I mean, sure, you have inexpensive ice to res, so you can actually res ice, but, well, he's just usually really low strength, so vulnerable to parasite. And then it keeps dying, and then you have to install more, but you're poor, so you can only res cheap ice, and it's a never-ending cycle. Another medium coming for Pacer, and he's going to run R&D here. Now that is a lot of R&D pressure. So each of those mediums are going to gain a counter when he accesses. So the first one, the top one, is going to get 1 counter. And then the bottom one is going to get up to 4 counters. So he's only going to access 4 cards. But then if he runs again, he'll see 6 cards. And if he runs again, he'll see 8 cards. he did get that extra click from Autoscripter for installing the medium. So he can do quite a few runs here. Can Ahmed res that ice? And they're just having a discussion here because Ahmed wanted to make sure he fully understood this double medium turn. But I think we're straight at this point. He's going to get a ton of access, and I think he has decided he is going to let Pacer through. See the first one? Nothing. Second one? Nothing. Third. Fourth. That's all four. And he runs back for his next click. And he'll see 6 cards. Both of those mediums putting insane pressure. Actually, I mean, it's amazing that he saw 4 cards and nothing. Now he's seeing 6. What's it going to be? He's thinking hard about this, and maybe he's considering... it's probably an ice that he can res. He's wondering whether or not he should res it. I'm guessing it's vulnerable to Parasite because he doesn't want to get parasited. He lets it through. There's 4. 2 more. 5. 6. A whiff, and last click, he's going to run back. And there's the ice res. It is a quandary. 0 strength, vulnerable to Parasite, but is the end of Pacer's turn. There's nothing he can do about it until next turn. Autoscripter goes away because he had an unsuccessful run. Now, will Ahmed be able to ice up R&D more? Because that quandary, I guarantee you, is not long for this world. He mandatory draws into an NAPD, which is not a piece of ice. Trivia for you there. And his Jacksons are gone, so he can't make any digs. And he decides to purge on his turn. Not a bad idea. And there's the Parasite coming out for Pacer. R&D's wide open again. Pacer has 3 clicks. He's going to run in. So he's going to see 1 card this time. But they continue to build up. Now he's going to see 3 cards. And these are all cards that he should have seen already, pretty much. Last click, he's going to see 5 cards. I think so. Last time he saw 6 cards, there was a mandatory draw. So then he sees 5 cards, meaning that those are all cards that he's seen already. But after a purge, he's already back at seeing everything that he saw, and so he's going to put on even more pressure. Now, was that an ice that he drew? The fact that, well, I don't know if Pacer saw any ice coming up. I don't even know if Ahmed has ice in hand. Does decide to draw. He looks like he drew a piece of ice. Can he res it, though? And it looks like he has a couple sweeps weeks. Pacer has 3 cards in hand. Those would be some pretty sorry sweeps weeks. But if you have no money, then, you know, it's better than being completely broke. There's a sweeps week. Indeed. It's got to be rough to see that happen. But you got to get money. You'd rather get money than lose the game. An inefficient sweeps week. There goes an ice, and it is a pop-up window, so he gets more money, but that is porous. We're going to see 7 cards this time. And 3 of those are going to be, no, 4 of those are going to be due because there's a mandatory draw and then an extra draw. Oh, what do we see there? I can't tell what that is. No agendas to see. That is kind of sad. Gormer Drip, I'm going to mill a card. You can see even more cards if you run back. Instead, Pacer decides to go in HQ. Interesting choice. He must suspect that all the agendas are in HQ. That's not a bad idea. I think I see at least 1 NDPD, maybe 2 in hand. Not that Pacer has the money to steal an NAPD. If he did it again, that would be unfortunate. I believe Ahmed is pondering whether to res the ice or not. Is that 4 credits? No breakers for Pacer. The fact that he's thinking about it must mean that it's going to be expensive to res, maybe take all his money. Instead, he decides to let it happen. There's an NAPD. And yeah, he can't score it. He only has $3. Twice this game, he's accessed an NAPD that he hasn't been able to steal because he was too poor. Maybe one of these days. And we see another purge from Ahmed. 2 purges in 3 turns. That could be pretty brutal. But now the pop-up window is over R&D. It's not going to be free for Pacer to get in. Even a single credit can make a difference. Jin now coming out. And Pacer's able to tutor. What will he tutor for? A Parasite. Surprise, surprise. I wonder what he is going to Parasite. I'll give you a hint. It has 0 strength. What a game. This is unbelievable pressure on R&D coming out from Pacer. I think what they were just talking about there, Pacer was thinking of changing his mind on what he wanted to tutor for. I don't know what he would have tutored for anyway, or otherwise, but it seems like he's going to stick with his Parasite decision. So maybe that's not what he wanted. Maybe he doesn't mind the pop-up window that much. And he's going to hit HQ again, I think. Yep. Still 3 cards. Ooh, there's a breaking news. That one's free to steal. 1 point. Makes a difference. He needs to steal 4 agendas to win. There's nothing higher than 3 points in this deck. So an agenda's an agenda, as long as he just doesn't pull another breaking news. That would kind of be sad. Ice up more on R&D. Does Ahmed have the money to res it? Oh, he forgot to pay the 1 when he installed, so it was a credit. So he paid 1 to install and then gained it back, so it stays at 4. I wonder if there's anything juicy in archives at this point. There's been a decent number of Parasite installs. And there's a cache. This time getting 3 credits from it because he installed the Cyber Feeder. Sounds like he's going back into HQ for his 3rd click. Ooh, we've got an Architect. Now that is a card that Parasite can't do anything about because it cannot trash it. And it's going to fire. No breakers. Ahmed looks at the top 5 cards in R&D, which some of those Pacer doesn't know about. Finally, I think, got through that R&D lock somewhat. What will he install? He could install more ice. Protect that R&D some more. Or maybe he's getting a little agenda flooded and might want to protect HQ. Or maybe he found an agenda that he wants to install behind that wall of ice. The possibilities. There are so many. What will he do? No one knows. He could install and make a new server and get a free draw out of it. That works. Ooh, ices up archives. I get it. That makes sense. Force him to pop the Hades shard if he wants to access archives, assuming that Ahmed's able to res that ice over archives. And then grab something out of archives, puts behind the wall of static. But the access still does happen. This time Ahmed has Pacer has 5 credits, and indeed, he is finally able to steal that NAPD. 3rd time's the charm. Pacer at 5 points and 1 credit. I think that was his 3rd click. Just gains 1 for his last click. Ahmed seeing that card that he saw before from Architect on his mandatory draw. Architect, a great card for installing stuff for free, making new servers, and for just sort of seeing what's coming up so you can strategically plan ahead. Just takes some money because he was poor from that Architect res. But with 5 points on the board from Pacer, I wonder if he could just pop the Hades shard and straight up win right away. That would be fun. I mean, surely with all the cards in there, there's got to be at least a 2-pointer in there somewhere. And he runs R&D. Sees 1 card. Nothing interesting. Will he poke somewhere? Looks like he's running Archives. No res on Archives. And there's an NAPD in there. Pacer has 4 points, and there is the win. Wow, such incredible pressure coming out for Pacer. It sounds like Ahmed was pretty demoralized after that. Oh, that was the Lotus Field, which is also really good against Parasite. He just didn't have 5 credits to res it. Man, that is a really, really rough loss, I think, for NEH. Just, he could not get money. He could not keep ice on the table. Just incredibly brutal runs and aggressive ice trashing coming out from the Noise player. Very well played from Pacer. He deserved that win. And, shout outs to Ahmed, too. It sounds like he was getting also some really bad draws as well. And just wasn't able to get the cards he needed to deal with this noise pressure. But good games. We're going to be moving on to Game 2 of Round 5, the last game of the tournament. Coming up here in a second. Stick around, and I'll see you guys next time.